right, welcome back to DAO Talk. This is your one-stop shop for everything DAOs. I'm Tommy,
And I'm fishing.
and this is the season 2 kickoff. What does that mean? There'll probably be some sick party music going on right now. Welcome to season 2 of DAO Talk. Not much is going to change. We're still going to be your one-stop shop for everything DAOs. We're going to come to you with the weekly updates in a nice succinct format every week. In fact, we're going to try and make it a little bit shorter each week. Not too short. We're still going to get through the meat of what happened in the DAO ecosystem this week. There'll still be a written newsletter that comes out with the podcast, and we will still be interviewing some of the best minds in the DAO space. Those will come out earlier in the week. But we're just going to try and get you in and out as quick as possible to get you on your way, to keep building in the space, to keep contributing. Frisson, how are you? How have you been this week?
I'm good, man. I'm excited about everything that's happening in the ecosystem. The price of ETH is up. You can withdraw your staked ETH. I have this close friend who has been asking me when he can unstake on Coinbase for a while. And I just texted him yesterday when the upgrade went live. I was like, hey, dog, you can withdraw your ETH now if you want. It felt good, man. It felt good. Crazy how fast that got shipped after the merge, too. Like, just when the merge happened, I was budgeting a year, and it only took him 6 months. So, super exciting. A lot of exciting stuff happening in DAOs. The vibes in the Arbitrum DAO are increasing, after a few stumbles getting out of the gates. So excited about that. We got a delegation week coming up. So yeah, I think we had a little bit of like a break after ETH Denver to regroup on our side. Now it's time for DAO Talk Season 2. Let's go.
Yeah, we're still going to have our mainstays, like I said, of our weekly episodes and our interviews, but we're going to get a little more experimental, maybe some live streams, some more unstructured conversations, try to get people involved from the community. So it's more than just, me and you talking, me and Frisson talking, and then, talking to some of like the larger players in the ecosystem. We want to get, boots on the ground, something we did previously when we did our joke DAO race, when we crowdsourced some of the best contributors in the space with like less than 500 followers. That was a really good experiment. So yeah, we're going to be experimenting over the next couple quarters this year. We're really excited. There's some new artwork. If you're listening to this, you probably already saw it. If you're watching, we'll show it at the end of the pod. But yeah, Frisson's in a good mood today, and it's usually directly tied to the price of ETH, and ETH has pumped to above 2,000, which is pretty awesome. Not financial advice as always.
It's not just because of the price. I love proving the haters wrong so much. They've been coming after crypto so hard all year, and yet it's up 100%. It's starting to decouple from traditional risk assets. Oh no. What are they going to do with all their salty tears? How are they going to clean them all up off the floor when it's all over? Oh, it feels so good. I feel like the meme with like the green Wojak hugging himself and all the up arrows going up. It's not even about the money. It's been a long year and a half of people just taking pot shots at crypto, and it's got to hurt. It's got to hurt as someone who's just been ragging on crypto while the price is down for a year straight. It's got to hurt to watch it pump in your face. It's got to hurt.
Yeah, I mean, we've known the whole time, like everyone's just been building and shipping, and now we're starting to kind of see the fruits of that labor, especially with the Ethereum devs. So pretty fucking awesome to see. What's the name of the update or the upgrade?
It's called Chappella, which has led to a lot of really funny Dave Chappelle memes. But yeah,
What's
it was
the difference?
Originally called Shanghai.
Yeah,
so
okay, that's what I thought.
There's two different parts of Ethereum. There's the consensus layer and the execution layer, and they both had to do an upgrade for it. And so what they've started doing is they have different names for the upgrade on consensus and execution layer. And it was Shanghai for consensus, I think, and Capella for execution. Shanghai is the names of DevCon cities, and they just progress through them. And then Chappella, I think, is names of stars. But anyway, when they're doing an upgrade that involves both, they make a portmanteau now. So the next big upgrade, which is going to be sick, which includes EIP 4844, which is like the first version of dank sharding, which is gonna make rollups 10x less expensive, which is gonna be sick, and should come, in the next year, solidly. Um, it's Cancun is the city, the DevCon city, and then um uh I forgot the name of the star one, but it's Den something, and so it's called Dencun. It's like as if like Ethereum couldn't get like any more nerdy and cringe. They're like, no, 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 hold my beer. But yeah, Dencun. So that's the next one.
I love the names. I love the names. All right, moving right along. You mentioned some good vibes coming out of the Arbitrum ecosystem. Last week, we talked about how AIP1 was a little bit controversial, to say the least. But it seems the Arbitrum DAO has learned from its mistakes and is starting to talk a little bit more to the community. Talk a little bit more to the community. Be a little more transparent. Maybe not that they weren't before, but things were just a little bit convoluted, I think, and delegates and token holders, were a little bit upset. Frisson, you are a pretty large Arbitrum DAO delegate. Walk us through what this tweet thread is describing for those who aren't reading the thread along with us, and what it means moving forward for the Arbitrum DAO and the Arbitrum ecosystem.
Yeah, so we talked about AIP1 last week. There's some issues with it. There was not enough adequate communication of how the foundation worked during the DAO launch. And then there wasn't enough communication of like what the foundation would do after the DAO launch either in the first proposal, AIP1. So the community went back and created two new proposals that are like 1.1 and 1.2 that make a couple of improvements to the overall constitution of the DAO, and then also clarify what the foundation is going to do and introduce new controls to the foundation's ARB tokens, where there's just like a vesting contract where only a relatively, small percentage, I think it's like 1/5 of the tokens are available to be like, used or spent in the first year or immediately, and then there's like a linear vesting after that, which just introduces additional like control and just like adds I think comfort for the community as a whole. And so both of those proposals are crushing it in the sentiment check, so I expect to see them live on Tally soon, which will be super fun.
Absolutely. We'll always post the threads that we go through on DAO Talk Live in the show notes if you're on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple, wherever you get your podcast. So definitely go read this entire thread. It is only 10 tweets long. You can get through it in a few minutes, get a better understanding of what's happening in the Arbitrum ecosystem directly from the Arbitrum DAO. Moving right along, a update or a proposal from the Uniswap DAO, the Uniswap Foundation on Tally. If you're not watching, we're looking at Uniswap's portal on tally.xyz. It is a proposal to deploy Uniswap v3 on Gnosis. Right now, the proposal is active, but it has 99.99% for, 0% against. I think there's 1.18 votes against. So this vote will likely pass. Hasn't reached quorum yet. It is about, looks like 6 million votes away, which is only a few percentage points away. So looking forward to seeing Uniswap v3 deployed on Gnosis. Frisson, any thoughts on that? It's not very controversial.
Yeah, this is just part of the larger story with the Uniswap v3 business source license expiring. So now anyone can fork Uniswap v3, and so they want to make sure that they have Uniswap v3 like Uniswap's version, Uniswap v3, Uniswap's version, Taylor's version, live on like every chain, so that there's going to be forks and stuff on all these chains, but they just want to also have their like, the Uniswap version in case people are more comfortable using that, and also to make sure they get like, market share. And so this is, just deploying on Gnosis chain. One thing that's really cool here is Uniswap has a really crazy and cool multi-chain governance setup that allows them to actually control Uniswap on all of these chains from the DAO. it's not multi-chain in the sense, yeah, dude. 0x69 is feeling it. They're feeling this proposal. I feel this is right, dude. Some of the forum comments are like DAO like reasonings are the best. It's like, this proposal has been blessed from the heavens and feels good. Nice, bro. Thanks for sharing that. But yeah, like it's not multi-chain governance in like the sense that you would think, where anyone can have uni on any chain and then vote in a governance proposal. It's very difficult to make that secure. So the actual voting does take place on Ethereum L1. So like, you have to have, if you want to vote or delegate, you have to have the uni on Ethereum L1. But that one DAO, can control the implementation of Uniswap v3 on every other chain. So in that sense, it is multi-chain, where like the DAO is on one chain, but it controls across many chains. We saw like a very different but equally cool implementation of this multi-chain governance with the Arbitrum DAO, which we've talked about, where like the DAO is on Arbitrum, but it can control the like roll-up related contracts on Ethereum L1, and it can also then control Arbitrum Nova, which is like another Arbitrum chain, right? So that's one thing that I think is really cool about how Uniswap is doing all of these deployments on all these other chains, is like the DAO on Ethereum still controls that implementation on all the other chains, which is pretty sick.
Yeah, it's interesting to see like this kind of like licensing, I wouldn't say warfare, but like pre-warfare, like laying the foundation to make sure the business stays, successful and controls what it can control, or can control its core business moving forward, play out like in this new arena. I've been watching a lot of like old school, like IBM computer TV shows back in the day, when like copyrights and like new tech was kind of being jockeyed for, in terms of like, making copies, but changing a little bit of like pretty much forking. So it's kind of interesting to see how this plays out in 60, 70 years later. All right, moving along in the Aave ecosystem. Aave has a really interesting project or not Aave itself, but Aave ecosystem as a project. It's called Butter. Buttery Money on Twitter. We made a video about it last week called DAO Talk, which is a quick like 1 or 2 minute series we're doing every Friday around just highlighting one of the projects in the ecosystem. Butter got a grant from Aave Grants DAO for $15,000 in Aave tokens, or whenever that that swap will be around the time of distribution of the funds. But it was an incentivized, or it is an incentivized delegates race. So there is like 13 applicants that applied for this race. Pretty big players in the space, like Token Logic, StableLab, FireEye, if you're looking, were the top 3 who were voted for. But you had Blockworks Research, Consensus, Flipside Crypto, and some other bigger names in the space. Essentially what it was is it's just an experiment to create a better governance participation. The idea is, if there's a pre-application process for who you should delegate your tokens to, you're just adding another layer of involvement, so that when you're delegating your token to that person is actually going to be incentivized to actually have your best interest at heart. Right now, if you were to delegate, you just kind of go off of good faith and what that person's reputation is. For instance, like, I trust Frisson, so I'm going to give him tokens, but or delegate my Arbitrum tokens to him. But someone who maybe is a little bit removed is still going to trust him, but there's not necessarily a financial incentive for him to govern the way that person wants him to govern, and there's not that much of a reputation risk. So what this was there's 13 applicants. There's a 3-day voting period on Snapshot. They ran kind of like a traditional democratic process. They like pitched their ideas. They gave a full bio and everything. And then someone won. So Token Logic won here. And what happens is there's a delegation period now, which the theory is the person that won that vote, everyone that voted for him now can actually go and delegate to him. And then the second step is it's basically a 3-month term, where after the end of each month, that grant money that Butter received from Aave is going to distribute to the winner of that race. And start to get paid for being a delegate. They don't get the $15,000 all at once. What Butter's doing, like why does Butter exist? They're not just distributing the funds. They're going to do like performance reviews at the end of each month that are going to be decided on by the community that voted to make sure that their delegate that won the race is hitting or is governing the way the community wants them to govern. And then if that is true, which I believe it is, I've listened to a bunch of interviews, and we did a space earlier this week with Token Logic. They will receive that $5,000 grant money at the end of each month. It's an interesting experiment, and kind of supercharging the delegation experience. I know for one, I'm super involved in it now, but back in the day, like when I got my Optimism airdrop and my ENS airdrop, I had no idea what the fuck I was doing in terms of like who should I be delegating to, what should I be caring about. And I wish there was something kind of similar like this, where it's, a fun little way to not only like make the delegation experience better, but you're also giving people an onboarding, like fun way to like understand what's actually happening when you are delegating your tokens and what that means after you delegate your tokens. Because I think a lot of people just delegate and then they just forget about it, and they never really care. It's kind of just like free money, and they don't really care about governance, which is the whole debate about should governance tokens have utility, is it blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. So the delegation period is right now. And then we'll probably check back. Maybe, I don't know. Well, maybe we'll have some updates in a month or maybe in 3 months if Butter's going to do it again. It's been going pretty well. I've been pretty plugged into it. So hopefully this will be kind of like a new standard for financially incentivizing delegates in the space moving forward. Frisson, any like quick thoughts on paying delegates to be delegates?
So I think the key here is that the token holders have to care, right? So if the token holders like don't care who their delegate is, and the delegates like vote to somehow pay themselves, like this is not just with Butter, but like broadly in the space of incentivized or paid delegation, then that's just like governance capture, right? This is basically corruption. And actually, that's one reason I like Butter's design is it's like focused on it's focused on like it is focused on the token holders directing the incentives, right? So that's like just like my quick hot take on incentivized delegation.
Yeah, it ultimately is going to always come down to like people giving a fuck. But I feel like this is maybe it's helping people it's helping people care a little bit more. I think it doesn't solve the problem of like the internal, like this person has to care. You can't make anyone care about anything. But I think this is an interesting, take on the subject. I don't think there's a lot of other projects that are doing stuff similar to this. So exciting stuff. All right, moving into some quick, cool projects and thoughts from the space. Other Internet is doing a new research project, and more than just a research project. They're in the research phase right now, around like social security in DAOs and how to, create a better like working system for DAO workers and DAO contributors so that, people can do this long term. If you're not looking at it, we'll link the Substack post in the comments. There's 3 parts to this project. I think they're calling it Web3 work, but there's three parts. For part 1, historical research and literature review, which has already been completed. 2, ethnographic research with DAO contributors, so talking to the people in the space and understanding what are the needs. They're in that phase right now, so if you want to get involved in this, click on that link, go to their Twitter, reach out to Toby or anyone else from other Internet. And then, like I said, it's more than just a research project. Step 3, which will be coming soon, is design deployable Step 3, which is coming soon, will be designing deployable mechanisms. So actually putting the research, putting the reviews into practice and making a better working environment for DAO contributors. And then in the end, this article, a call for DAO contributors. They want to hear from everybody. So if you're listening to this, hopefully, most likely you are a DAO contributor or you are involved in a DAO that knows a DAO contributor, reach out to them, make your voice heard, because Other Internet is one of the more powerful voices in the space that is driving a lot of work and can divert a lot of resources to creating these systems that are, maybe not the sexiest thing to talk about. It's not an airdrop, it's not a ton of money, but it is the thing that is going to power the labor force, which is ultimately the lifeblood of this entire ecosystem, even though it is built on top of a lot of, autonomous protocols and code. So cool stuff coming out of there. Frisson, any thoughts on that, or shall we move right along?
No, let's keep it bumping. Just, Tally, we're jumping in, matching the grant with an extra 500 OP. So yeah, get your chat GPT in your DAO proposal game on.
Yeah, we got this sick proposal from Kames.eth, who runs TurboETH, which was a recipient from Optimism's Retroactive Public's Good funding round. And he has released a bounty around building a integration with Tally and ChatGPT around governance and summarizing proposals and just creating more education around the space. So yeah, like Frisson said, we upped it from, I think his original reward was 500 OP. Tally is kicking in another 500 OP. So you got about 1,000 OP up for grabs, which is well over $1,000, I believe. So go check that out. We'll link to that in the show notes as well. And you can see the Git description on GitHub as well. All right, last two things from the DAO Talk Season 2 kickoff. DAO Tokyo. If you're listening to this on Friday, the day it came out, DAO Tokyo ended about 12, 16 hours ago. Absolutely amazing event. I've heard some great things, seen some great pictures from the venue. Amazing vibes. That is the partner event from DAO NYC. So the DAO events of the year now, not just the DAO event. We're looking real forward to DAO NYC coming later this year. Dates to be announced, details to come soon, but that will be happening later this year. Looks like a good group here. If you're not looking at it, it's a picture of maybe like 80 to 100 people. Denison's right there in the middle, our fearless co-leader out in Tokyo, jet lagged, of course. But
classic Denison.
Classic Denison, always the center. So bubbly. We love it. But yeah, DAO Tokyo. DAOs are happening around the world, man. It's not just happening here in the States, here in Europe. It's kind of growing. It's cool to see a lot of buzz around the event. So exciting to see DAO Tokyo and DAO NYC coming soon. Hopefully we'll have some more cities. If you want to run another event, reach out. I will help you run it. But all right, last part.
Low key, look out for DAO India. A little alpha.
Oh, really?
A little
alpha there?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. I fuck with that. Cool. Cities, more cities coming soon. DAO every city in the world. All right. Unveiling the new DAO Talk art. If you're listening to this, you've already seen it when you clicked on your Spotify play when it loaded into your phone. But we're rocking with that Tally perp. Got a little block up font, keeping it real simple. Your one-stop shop for everything DAOs. I think this will be the art for a good bit. So excited for the season 2 launch and the new look for DAO Talk. Frisson, any thoughts on our new little fit? How you feel?
Dude,
feel fresh?
It's nice, man. I noticed you got a purple shirt on as well. You're just ready with that new Tally, the Tally perp.
Rocking that LDF
You're mixing
merch.
the LDF world and the Tally perp. You want to show them? You guys show them the Tally profile too. Just real quick.
Yeah, let's show them the Tally profile. There's more to come too, but
there's more to come. Tommy over here is like becoming a creative designer before our very eyes. He got hired at Tally to be a content manager, but little did we know he would become a designer. But here he is.
I'm growing. I'm spreading my wings and learning to fly. Sometimes that means I fall 30 feet down onto the ground from my nest, but we get back up and we start flapping. We start flapping our wings like Flappy Bird, if you remember that game. But exciting stuff. Super excited for the future of DAO Talk. Some awesome interviews, awesome new experimental stuff. Really just trying to grow the ecosystem here with y'all. And we always look forward to talking to everyone, getting feedback. Good week. We'll see you next week for another episode of DAO Talk Weekly. Remember, go subscribe to daotalk.substack.com. That has been completely revamped as well and will be coming out this week with its return. So that's out. Go subscribe to the Tally newsletter, newsletter.tally.xyz, which is less DAO focused, more focused on DeFi and the general ecosystem as a whole. That is run by Fearless, Cool Horse Girl, amazing writer. Go check that out. Go make sure to follow us at TallyXYZ. And we'll see you next week for another episode. Frisson, peace.
Peace.